Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's AUDJPY webinar. My name is Nathan Cooper. So tonight's webinar is live Forex market review. Before we get into it, if you can read through the disclaimer, for those on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat. But if you want to join us and talk to us, just use the link that I've given and you can come into the webinar room and talk to us. For those in the webinar room, you can use the webinar chat or Q&A box. Right now you're talking to me about the franc. I haven't been watching the franc, but I know we have the interest rate decision today, which may have come out. That may have been the driving factor. We'll have a look when we get to the charts. All right, so just take the time to read through the disclaimer before we move along. As I say, questions to the chat box or the Q&A box. All right, so they've come out and dropped their rate. Okay, well, that will definitely make, I'm guessing, I haven't looked at the charts, but I'm going to guess that the dollar franc went up. I should have done, but luck can always go the opposite way. All right, let's move along. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Nathan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at DXY Securities. I'm a full-time Forex trader. I've been trading Forex now for more than 15 years, mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me, my email is there on the screen, duncan.cooper@acy.com. Through the week, you can connect with us at the website, acy.com, go to the Market News tab, or our YouTube channel, DXY Securities Australia. If you want to connect with me personally, just head over to my Linktree page. You'll get more of my links there. That's Duncan Cooper FX. That's the handle to my Linktree page. And if you want to get access to my chart layouts and templates, then they are for MT4. The ones I'm using in the webinars, just contact nathan.bray. I'll put Nathan's contact details in the chat for you now. We'll only be too happy to set you up. There you go. All right, so let's jump into what news items coming out first up before we get into it. It's a very difficult week to trade at the moment with all these news items coming out. We have had the FMC statement early in the morning, and what I can gather from some news I watched, basically the FMC said they're going to be cutting rates in June, but I mean, that's 3 months away. Things can change before June. So that being said, the US dollar did weaken, but it seemingly as we're getting into the London session, gathering strength back. So we should see. Now we're having the we're having the flash manufacturing services data coming out through the London period at the moment. For the Eurozone, French and German have been released. We just had the Swiss interest rate decision, and they have dropped interest rates by 25 basis points. I don't really follow too much the Swiss currency, so that's why I wasn't aware of what happened, but we can see here that 25 basis point cut, so that would mean that the franc itself will potentially weaken. Then we've got the press conference coming out right now for the Swiss. We've got the UK flash manufacturing and service PMI data coming out at 7:30, so it's going to be pretty volatile then, and also at 10 PM when we have the monetary policy statement. Not expecting any change. Maybe the market may be looking at the votes here in anticipation of, if this vote starts to much more, increase to the side of actually creating a cut at some point, even though we might not get a cut if the votes start to stack up to the cut side a little bit more, like here at 216, we're expecting 0.18, but if it becomes more like, I don't know, 6, 7, there's 9 votes, so it becomes more like 4, 5, then that's edging a lot closer to the UK maybe cutting their interest rates, because the inflation did fall the other day. So just be aware of the volatile items coming out. Difficult to trade the pound thing until we get past that item. 10:30 PM for the US got unemployment claims. These times are my time in time, and we've got flash manufacturing and service PMI data for the US at 11:45 PM. Okay, that's what's on the cards for the day. So I need to wait until some of these items come out, depending on what pay you want to trade. All right, so it's worth noting on the Dollar index, the weekly trend is up. We have a higher top, higher bottom. We have it on the day chart. A couple of days of pullback, but we're already positive this day. So we're already positive from the day before. Looking like it's maybe getting a little bit of support from over here. So, you know, not a perfect head and shoulder pattern textbook because you'd like a deeper pullback, but I mean, that's moved through this area. We've moved down, we've come back above the area, and it's looking like support to continue up. The move that we had last night could have well been just the market on the pairs to the versus the US dollar. Market just coming back up to selling levels. Okay, we'll have to wait and see long term. All right, S&P 500 in the face of interest rates getting cut, potentially now in June, goes to further high. It's worth, whilst I've been saying this is very high because we're at all-time highs, do you want to be buying at all-time highs or close to? I've also been saying, you know, look to buy a dip within the fib range. We could have done that on the last dip. Now we've moved up. So if you want to get in the trend on this, wait for the next dip to the 62-79% area. Now don't be buying it at the top of the move, the all-time high. Look for the next retracements if you're prepared to keep buying. And this is like a 7 or 8 week uptrend here at the moment since the last pullback on the weekly chart. So at some point we will get a pullback on the weekly chart. So how long can you keep buying before we get a weekly pullback? But in any event, if you want to be a trader, you know, you want to look for a pullback. You want to trade the index. All right, euro dollar. So my day chart, I've got a fib drawn from this top down to this bottom, and we've come up to 79%. That's why I say I'm not quite sure whether all the market really did yesterday was come back up to selling levels. So to the 4-hour chart, you can see the massive drop we've just been having following the flash services PMI data releases. And you know, we have quite a large imbalance from yesterday that probably needs to be filled. The imbalance started here and it's still there. So we may well want to fill that whole imbalance and then come back to test these lows. So fair at 79% level, it's looking very like, you know, it's come up to these 4-hour tops here. I would now be looking, I wouldn't want to be selling down here if you're wanting to get short. If this is a failure now, in the form of that's the day chart, top to bottom, down, is that really what's happening? If that's the case and we failed at 79% level, I want to now start to look at this range for maybe a rally within. Can you sell a rally within this range here? So let's just drop to 15 minutes. Right. In the range today, 5-day average range. So this is going to have a bounce, I'm sure. But I will start to monitor this range. We come up to the 62-79% area. And then start to put a lot of top in on the 4-hour chart. Can you start to see turnover there in the 15-minute chart and get short? And we've still got some imbalances in here to fill. On the 15-minute chart, there's an imbalance here. So when you see the market make these very strong moves up or down, price will often come back to fill the whole area. So we haven't filled the whole area yet. So it's created a few imbalances on the way down here. So it may want to come up to start to fill some of those before then coming down. Then 127, that is a low. We move up this way, then fail. 127 extension for the next leg down comes into this area. All right, so that's my thoughts. I think this should be looking for an opportunity to fade a rally. intraday. That can come around. Don't want to be selling the bottom of that move though. Euro yen. Now this is my, if I go to the weekly chart, this is the structure on the weekly at the moment. It's up at the 127 extension after having a pullback to 62. So it's just worth, I'm not saying it's reversing at the moment. It was start at the moment. This top here, 164.29, has been intraday support. I'm just pausing. Edwin, you're saying you think the day charts turns up? Well, I don't. I think the day charts, back to my daily. We formed a lower top last week. So in my mind, lower top to that top, and then we put a bottom in here. So I'm looking at this as down, rally down. There's this lower top here. If that lower top wasn't there, you could say, yes, that's higher. It's higher than that one. And you can say this bottom's higher than that one. But now we've got this lower top in there. I think that turns a little bit more to down rather than to the upside, in my mind. Alright, let's put my fibs back in. Of course, I can be wrong. Alright, Euro yen, weekly chart here. We're at the 127 extension. Now, we have been getting intraday support at 162, 164.29, 164.30 area. And as long as that remains holding, then there's every chance this can still move higher. It's definitely a trend. All right, see then today we've been down early in the day. We got down to 124.30, and I think we held there twice yesterday. So that is clearly being support for the buyers at the moment. If that was to let go, break, then we could well start to see then a pullback within this range from low to high. All right, but at the moment, it's rejecting up here. You can see the last 4-hour candle. You can see, certainly as we get to the 50-minute chart yesterday, as we moved above that level yesterday, support, we got a fraction short here today and a pullback. So the most immediate little swing is here. So if you're still keen to be a buyer of this pair, even though it's rather extended, then 79% retracement level here, stop below the low, see this move back up. For me, I just think it's too high up now. I'm not really seeing a signal to sell, but if we do break below here, then the intraday direction will be down in the short term. All right, so I really think the most obvious level to watch is this 164.29 level. To watch this area here. Price gets down there again today, it would well hold once more. So that's the best buying level. If prices get down to 164.29.30, if you see price hold, that's a great buyer's level at the moment. If we break below, then you want to see then price come back up to that level to sell down from. It's going to switch to polarity. So that's the key level to watch at the moment. All right. You can see today the 127 extension from the weekly chart has been held 1, 2, 3 times. So, if you want to get short, if that's your mode of operation, this is where the market's telling you it's very expensive today and yesterday. All right, I'm not so sure yet where the uptrend's over. If we break 164.29 in the short term, that would certainly shift the intraday bias to down. The long-term trend will remain. All right, euro pound, very choppy. I'll just leave this alone at the moment. I've been saying, we can get up to 85.71. That's the top of the range. At the moment, on the day chart, we're starting to, trade above this weekly area of resistance at 85.43, but it can't hold above and see all the wicks. Right, that's very messy and sideways. I'd look at something better, but I'd look to the outskirts of the range, which I've marked in, 85.71. Support's down here, 84.98. Let's trade the boundaries. All right, pound dollar. Now, I'm looking at the swings on this pound. It's been down, rallied, down, and all these highs here, 1, 2, 3, and there's no one there, 4. Really rallied back up into these two highs. 79% retracement of that range, ROE. So as my statement was at the beginning of today, I will really just rally back up to sell levels to come back down. All right. See the imbalance? Not formed. Price will often feel the imbalance. So at the moment, it hasn't filled it all yet. See this imbalance here? So when price was down here, there was an imbalance up here that needed to be filled. So what we've really done with the move up yesterday is to come up and fill this imbalance here. All right. So now that imbalance has been filled, we'll probably come down and fill this imbalance. I'm anticipating that we're, like I was just saying, 79% level. We already missed the best opportunity when we had this outside candle breaking the lower of that 4-hour candle. That was the entry at the 79% fib level. Are we at least going to come down and fill this imbalance here? Can we continue down? Right, so trading within the range here where this imbalance was formed. All right, so yes, we can move high for sure, but we're failing at the day chart highs to the left. Moment. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we do have the news at 7:30, and then a little bit of time, 2 hours to go then, well, 2.5 hours to go till the interest rate decision. So it is worth watching to see if this news drives this. Now, after we've moved down from the 79% level, this could come back up to the largest 79% level at 127.89 and the smaller one at 127.93. So this could definitely come back up, say in this area. On a bit of news volatility. Like I was saying on the euro, I would anticipate the price is going to come back into this area and fill this area. All right, might get support here to move back up because this is where we had the impetus to break up and move higher, but we will often just come back to fill this area in the short term. So it may well be now down, rally, and then down into this area. So see what happens after the news at 7:30. We'll come back in 10 minutes and just see what happens from the news. All right, pound yen, it's just been breaking higher and higher. It's worth understanding on the monthly chart, first of all. We're getting up very high to historical levels from 2015. But it is holding this monthly trend, it's holding this weekly trend, putting another higher bottom here. All right, it's very overextended at the moment. So, you know, do you want to be buying at the top of the move? It's not really the best statistical place to be a buyer. Being patient and allowing this to at least pull back maybe to this top here, or at least have a pullback on the day chart, you know, like a day down. Because at the moment, we're 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 positive days up and then today. So even getting down to the 4-hour charts, 4-hour chart is looking a little bit like the euro yen. It's rejecting up here, so we do have some imbalance in here as well, which may need to be filled. So Difficult to short when the market's so strong. So I'm not suggesting shorting, but I think at least you want to wait for a pullback. Now, just from intraday trading over the last couple of days, how big a pullback we can get. Support is here at the moment. All right, intraday. So looking for price to come down. So the low of that area is at 192.29. So that's at least 70 pips away. So at least watching price come back into this zone where support's been coming in intraday. And then does it hold here? Can you see intraday set to buy? Right? See here, once price came down earlier in the day, so that support area, trend line break, back up to the upside. There's a swing point break there too, back up to the upside. So price coming back to a known area of support intraday. Does it hold? Can you see a turnaround back to the upside? Longer term, if we start to have a day or two down, can we pull back to 191.31 to be support? Okay. All right, Aussie yen. Did look when I was on the webinar Tuesday, 98 looked like it wanted to hold at 98, but then later in the day it's broke above, and we've moved to new highs at the moment for the year. Now, same as I was showing you on the Euro yen, we're at 127 extension of weekly, having had a weekly pullback, 127 extension. Monthly charts are quite a bit away from the next major monthly top at 102.82. But again, we're getting into the very high levels historically. So price doesn't have to come up to that high point there. It can fail short of that because we are getting into, the oxygen is getting thin up there for the buyers for very high levels. So to be a buyer, I think you need to wait for a pullback. And the obvious level would be at 99.05 at the moment, the high that we broke above. Once we broke above 98, we have really barely pulled back. And then, of course, we've had good job figures come out today, which has fueled its fire. But notably, we're hitting 110 today. Sorry, we're hitting 100 today. So that's a very notable price point where we start to hit 110 a couple of times in today and holding. Then if you can get a real tight entry, 100, very prominent number. We may well at least pull back to 99 if you're prepared to get short in this very clear uptrend. Personally, I would wait for a dip at the moment, whatever that looks like, and the most obvious level of support at the moment is last month's high in 99.05. So I would just allow this to have a correction in some form and then see what can occur. It'll only take a day to get back down to 99, so you wouldn't have to wait too long. You can see here when price broke above 99 here, broke above 99.05, it became support there to move higher. So I would anticipate that would be support. So that would be the level I'd be watching. And today we've already done the range for the day in terms of the average 5-day range. So how high can it really go now today before at least offering, at least wanting to come back down into the range? All right, now the Aussie. Pretty sure I said watch. I can't remember whether I'd actually say 66.21 or 65.94 on Tuesday. Now last week, let's go to my day chart. Last week I was just talking about this area, 66.21, those were rejected. And they'll say, watch that area. And all we've really done from there, from C-state, is come straight back to the same area that we were holding at the highs of last week. 3 days here, that was the high of last week, but 3 days there. Well, we know Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday. So Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday last week, and Monday. 4 days there, we were holding, trading above, yes, but holding at 66.21, 24 tops here. So I'll be stalling here once more. And I said we're really trading between, in general terms, 65 and 66. I said on Tuesday, going back down support, and if we can't break below, we may well get support down at 66. Trade it down to 60. So get support at 65. We trade down to 65.03. And we're pretty much back up to 66. A little bit of volatility came in today with the unemployment figures to pop it up, but once more, we're almost at the top of the range of last week's range. So we move to the 4-hour chart. Whilst we've had a week down this week, that's last week's high, to a new low this week. We're at 79% level of that range. So a couple of things you could be watching. If we are once more failing here, well, you could be selling at 79% level. Stop above here. And as long as we come a week up, then there's a high chance we will come back down and fill the imbalance that's been formed here early in the day. All right, because we formed an imbalance here last week, like I just showed you on the pound. We come back up to fill that imbalance, and it's popped a little bit higher. All right, but there's an outside candle, wanting to push back below 66.21. Now on a lower time frame, you could be looking for now this will run down. Look at the 79% level. Anywhere from 66.21 I'd like to be 62% level. So that area, watch that area there for failure on a rally. We stop above the high. Get a nice tight stop. Right now, you're asking me, do I look to trade it at the 79% level yet? If I'm trading, so if I think we failed up here, I would look at the 79% level. But sometimes price doesn't get to the 79% level. That's why I'm talking about the area of 62 to 79. Sometimes price will just come to 62. Sometimes it comes in between. And sometimes it'll get to the 79% level beyond. So I tend to put my order at 79. And then sometimes price will get there and I miss out. But getting it at 79, if price is then going to move down, say the 127 extension, putting your stop above here, that gives you a risk reward of about 1 to 4. All right, so it doesn't matter if you only get a hit rate of 50-50, because when you're wrong once, you lose 1, and when you're right, you make 4. So over 2 trades, if you've got a 50-50 hit rate, you're potentially making 3. All right. Let's just go back to the pound and just see what's happening in the pound. News is just coming out. All right, so it's trying to spike up. Not holding the spike though. So whether or not it can get up as high, I was indicating up to the 79% area there, doesn't look like it. What was the news? All right, so manufacturing was better than expected, and services was worse than expected. So bit of a mix. All right, in any event, it's just caused a little bit of a blip up, but now it's negative, so it doesn't look like it's going to get up there. But later in the day, when we get the monetary policy statement, it could well come back up into this area where we've been failing today. As I say, this imbalance here would well need to be filled now, and to fill that, it has to come down. Right, as I was saying before, came up to fill this imbalance after it moved down. So the market does this all the time. All right, that. All right, I would back cover the Aussie there. I would, watch to see if it can fail up here at 66.21. I have got short this pair today, up there at the top, at pretty much 66.21. So not to indicate what everybody should be doing, but I just felt, we're back to the selling levels of last week. All right. At the moment, this is rather range bound. Potentially hit selling at the same levels of last week, and when we came back down here, started to buy again at the previous 2 weeks ago buying level. Right, just range bound at the moment. All right, let's get into. We'll start with the New Zealand dollar, the New Zealand yen. So I've been discussing this double top, and we're getting a bit of a false breakdown here. We've broken the midpoint, but this area is getting false broke with the FOMC statements. So at the moment, whilst I'm very aware of the top there, this might want to come further up the range. Now that we're back above this level of support, it's very difficult to sell into this area of support. All right, the trend is down in terms of swing tops and bottoms. It's actually slightly lower than there. Double top, lower bottom. In the perfect world, and the market doesn't always give you perfect world. Nice for this to come up into this zone, and then put in the lower top. All right, trading with a long-term trend. We're coming back into that area, got all these tops to the left. Edwin is saying I'm looking on the Aussie dollar as an uptrend. No, I'm looking as a downtrend. Or I'm more looking at the Aussie as a range, really. It's getting support down at 65, approximately. And it's getting resistance approximately at 66. Well, it's getting resistance primarily at this area here. Now you might say that's a higher top and that's a higher bottom, and you'd be correct. But just ask yourself, where is it holding at? It's holding at this area here. All right. If you go to the weekly chart, it's holding at these weekly tops here. All right. So may break into an uptrend if you want to go by higher tops and bottoms, but it's actually been contained by support from these two weekly highs and resistance. As I was saying before, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all held at 66.21 to 24. We're back up to the same level. So if you want to trade it as an uptrend, you need to get in down here, and now you've got your fingers crossed that this is going to move through this area. All right, for me, it looks like we'll just back up to the sell zone, and that's the range of last week's high down to the current low this week. We're at the 79% area of that range. So I'm just anticipating it's going to move back down the range. All right, so New Zealand dollar. Very range bound, small breaking the bottom down there. Now, if you want to trade to the long side here, you want to look at 60, 68 for supports, which you may have already missed today. So if you wanted to get to the long side, which is against the day chart trend, but with false breaking support at the bottom, draw fib. The better levels down here at 60.38. Let's go back to the day chart. Is this area here, but we may not want to get down to there. 60, 68 would hold support and pullback. But from a pure, if I wanted to use a fib as a technique to get in, and of course I'd want to be watching this zone to trade up this way. Now, whether or not that can occur, because the actual day chart trend is down, so you're going against that trend. And really, if we started to trade back below 60, 68, I don't like that. So I don't know if I really like the idea of trading up there, but that is a potential scenario that could happen over the next week. Probably not a scenario that I'd like to trade. I'd much prefer to see this just come back up now, and come into an obvious sell area, because the high, just the day chart trend is down. So I'd much prefer to wait and align myself with that trend and look for the turnover up there if it can get there. And of course, I can reassess day by day. All right. All right, dollar Canadian. This is the area I was saying watch for a possibility of shorts on Tuesday after the CPI data. And on the day chart, we are back down to the day support here. So this may well be down to a double bottom here, from a slightly higher top to that top, to come back up, still in, you know, it's rather range bound, but this looks like support's happening here. Just had a very nice impulsive move off there. So you may get the opportunity, and of the bigger range, that's a 79% as well. All right, just going to double check. That's the next high bottom of the day chart. So yes, it's a 79% level of the full range. So double bottom here, and you can be dropping down to 15, seeing whether this can now pull back 62 to 79% area to move up back up the range. Right, the day chart trend is just holding its uptrend at a higher top. Pull back to equal lows, possible double bottom within that range. Is it moving back up? Yeah, a lot of these pairs at the moment are rather range bound. They keep swinging up and down. Yes, from what I can understand, the Fed's come out and said we're going to cut interest rates in June. But if inflation data came out this month higher, it keeps coming out higher. What they're saying they're going to do, they can just come out next month and go, oh, we're going to now wait and see. Okay, they can soon change their mind. They can change their mind from 1 month to the next. So, and that's why the markets remain rather range bound, because maybe the market isn't solely certain what is going to happen. All right, so we may well see quite a range bound market in the number of on the pairs for a number of months until we get some clarity. All right, so dollar franc is breaking out the range now after we've had the interest rate cut, and we're now trying to move above this old area of monthly resistance over here. And perfect scenario for me would be, now that we've broken above the top of this range here, just draw this fibbing across there. Keep dragging it up if price keeps moving up, but really, we break above resistance, you look for it to become support. So then that's an obvious now pull back to the 62% level and support. That's what I look for. So obviously the last one's high, so this should be now a strong level of support, because there may well have been a lot of people short here. Now they've got caught wrong with the interest rate cut. So all those shorts, if price pulls back to the area where they were shorting from, they're going to buy to get out of their shorts. So that should be a strong area of support now at the 88.70 88.87 level. Okay, whether or not price can pull back to there, I'll have to wait and see. I mean, price may just continue up and then we'll have to rethink. But if it does intraday now pull back, that's quite an imbalanced candle there. Right. What would be the area to watch? The support. All right, dollar yen. It's just looking a little bit like today. To come up, well, let's just go one moment to the highest time frames. Coming up to challenge 23 high, 22 high here. We all know it's in an uptrend coming up to the major resistance area. Okay. Thing I'm noticing here is maybe sell off, 700 rally almost. Is this actually starting to want to turn over? So whether or not it can get up there, it might be able to get into this zone again today after the US news. Is if it comes back up into this area and then rejects on the 4-hour chart, then you're real close to the top of the most immediate bull run of the dollar yen at the moment, into the area where we previously had the BOJ coming in to intervene. I did say the other day that the BOJ, when it did its statement, didn't raise their interest rates, but I have to correct myself, they did. I think they raised interest rates by like 0.1%. Now theoretically, the fact that the BOJ is potentially raising interest rates now, and the markets may be looking at the US to cut their interest rates, is whilst we've been moving up this week strongly, the fundamentals kind of dictating that we should be going the opposite way maybe in terms of interest rate changes. After many, many years in Japan, they're starting to potentially raise their interest rates ever so slightly, and the US are potentially going to be cutting. So we think we might see some selling on the dollar yen, but just going to have to, wait and see what happens up here. Do we start to see a topping out process close to these two highs? This high, the highest high is at 151.94. That's at 151.90. We've been up to 151.81. There's a possibility that we're coming in. That's the weekly chart here. Top one, top two. There's a possibility of coming up to put in the second lower top. All right. Yes, I know. As we're putting in the top here, on the day of the top we're putting in, we're in an uptrend, I know. But we have to be very aware that we failed at a strong sell-off. We may well, no, we're not having another day up to attack those tops today. We're having a day down. We're bouncing off these tops here. So whether you want to wait for a bit more patience to see what occurs, you could wait for, this area. I wasn't sure we could actually move above this area, but clearly we could. But if we, do this, then next week we can look to this area to be resistance for the opportunity to sell. All right, so we can wait to see if this does break down in this area. I mean, do you want to be a buyer up here at the two major highs? Not the best idea, so I can't give myself the opportunity to buy at the moment. If I wanted to be a buyer, I would have to see a healthy pullback. I could certainly start to entertain a reversal up here if I could start to see structure showing it. So if I could, even if I waited for this to rally drop, then I could certainly look at this area Now across these tops around about the 150.87 level, including broke back below there. So you just sit on the sidelines and watch, see if an opportunity presents. Of course, if the dollar yen starts to heavily sell off, we're probably going to see the other yen's pairs that we've been seeing heavily move up go into a corrective phase as well. All right, nothing can go up forever when we've had such an aggressive move up. Now the dollar yen here at the moment, once the BOJ did their statement this week, it's created this imbalance here. So if I wanted to be a buyer, I would probably want to see price come back to this area, feel that imbalance, and then see if price starts to get support. And if it does, then around that area would be a good area to start to go, okay, I want to get long to see if we can go up and challenge those two tops. All right. All right, now gold's broken higher. This is what I was looking for Tuesday. Can we come up to a higher top, higher bottom? Put in a higher bottom though from a lower top and broke above. So now, get rid of that line from my other chart. Now that we've broken above, it's broken resistance becomes support. Got this high on this price rate at 21.90. There's this high here at 21.95.10. All right, so you really want to see 121.95 for the support. So I'd actually like to see, I mean, this could be the support forming here. So today, intraday, but already today, intraday, see that's become support here. But later in the day, these two tops, if you want to get long at, break above the all-time high and the recent high, you want to see that area be support. It's already been support once in the middle of it. So if the buyers are truly in command at the moment, if price gets into that area, it should hold to move back up. All right, and on the other side, so we should really see this come in. It wants to dip further down and then come back up. If it was to break below that area, then we're going to move back down, probably down to here. So you want to see that break below. Like so. So that's the key area to watch. Does that remain support or does it break to become resistance? All right, you can watch that. So that zone there is 21.95 down to 21.90. Okay. All right, so the big question is, the move up yesterday, is it just a news move before you get a pullback? Let's pull back to the pound and see what that's doing. All right, it doesn't look like it wants to get up to the area that I've marked out at the moment. Might do later at 10 o'clock, but it's looking like it's selling in control at the moment. All right, so EURDOLLAR is starting to pop back up after its big drop. So saying before, watch. I think the zone, better zone got. That's the 62.79% area, but there's 2.79% levels up here. So I'd much prefer that level, that area up there, being picky, like in the 79% levels. This little area of consolidation and then break. price can get up to that area. Might not be able to get as high, but that would be the perfect area to look for the opportunity to get short today if it get back up. Or I might leave it at that. There's no more questions coming in, so we'll just have to wait and see. Big news event for the day now, waiting for is the pound interest rate decision. We're not expecting a cut, but inflation did downtick further. And the other day, where was it? Here. CPI year on years moved. We're expecting from 4 to move to 3.5 and to 3.4, so it's obviously in the right direction. Not expecting a cut. Of course, they could cut and surprise the market, but they probably won't. We may well see the votes change much more, starting to favour a shift to yes, getting enough votes, maybe at the next meeting for a cut. So, as I was explaining before, last time these votes, my understanding is 6 voted for no, 1 was undecided, and 2 said yes. I think that's the vote structure. So the more that 6 lessens, and the more we start to see a bigger figure on the left-hand side here, the more the board is starting to shift towards, at some point, making that decision that yes, we should cut. Right. So I don't think this is going to cut, but then the thing to look at is what is the vote. We're expecting at the moment it's going to be 810. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, the market may not care what the vote is. They may just go as long as it prints 5.25. Not sure how much gets said in the monetary policy summary. Don't know if there's actually a speech here or not at the time. So in any event, it's going to be volatile. And if you're just getting into the pound, it's not the best idea to hold the trade unless you're so sure it's going to go maybe short, in line with the intraday trend at the moment. Then you just want to wait until that comes out. So that's the big item for the day. Before then, we've got the 10:30 p.m. US unemployment claims coming out, and then the US manufacturing and services PMI data coming out as well. All right. So next week, if you want to join me, my next webinar will be on next Tuesday, more analysis at 8 p.m. Sydney time on the 26th. I'm going to be talking about the figure on Wednesday, the education webinar, and more analysis next Thursday. So if you want to join me, my webinar's at 8 p.m. Just come over to the webinar page and register your interest. I look forward to seeing you then. Other than that, have a great rest of the week trading, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody. Right now, these times are Queensland time. Times on the calendar here are Sydney time. Times on my calendar are Queensland time. Brisbane time. So where are we? Times on this here are GMT plus 10 on my calendar. Currently on here, well, this is Sydney time. Sydney time was the same time as my time because they've changed clocks, I do believe. No, they haven't. They don't change the clocks. In Sydney, they don't change the clocks until the first week in April. So Sydney is GMT 11 at the moment. I am GMT plus 10. All right, hopefully that didn't confuse you. But if you were talking about the Forex Factory calendar, if you just come to it, you can come to this little time button here, and you can set it to your time zone. So then it's that easy for you to work out what time it is for you. But when I'm talking GMT plus 10 Queensland time, my calendar. All right, hopefully you got that. All right, everybody, thanks very much.